Go to the hospital, check yourself out. A year ago, I lost one of my best friends, and apparently, he's woken up that day. He had businesses, he's not a poor man, he's wealthy, and he slumped. He was rushed to the hospital, and nothing could be done, and he died. And I'm saying this to say that if you are not in the habit of going to the doctors for a regular health check, then you might be a ticking time bomb. Why would I say that? If you don't find out what is happening to your system, you wouldn't know what you are. You wouldn't know how healthy you are. You wouldn't know how strong you are. Now, on the outside, you might appear that you're healthy, no headaches, maybe you sleep well in the night, and everything seems to be okay on the outside. But on the inside, a lot might be happening that you do not know. This is why it is very important for you to regularly do a health check. You cannot drive a car for a year without going to check the car out. That's why we do check out our cars. That's why we do service our cars, change the oil, make sure the car is in a better shape. If you live in the United Kingdom, for instance, we do what we call a yearly MOT, where you check the car out. And if your car fails the MOT, it means it's not roadworthy. You do this religiously for your car because there is a legislation in place, because a law in place that if you don't do this, you might not be able to drive your car on the road. That is for a car. But what about you as an individual? Why don't you take time, go check yourself up? Have you not heard stories of people who slumped? We had the story of the man who slumped some time ago, and he was rushed to the hospital. I don't know what became of him, but that wasn't a good story. That wasn't a good report. Most men, it's been said, and they make joke of it, that most black men don't like checking out, going to the hospitals. They don't like doing a regular health check. Some people, maybe they do not want to hear. Like somebody rightly said to me that the reason he doesn't do it is that he doesn't want to be told any bad stories or any negative story. I do understand why you're doing that, but would you rather die than to find out something is wrong and you get treated and you move on with your life? And it's not only about that. Why do you want to make all the money in the world, but you won't be alive to enjoy it? Or have you forgotten that if you do that and you think, yeah, everybody will die, I don't care what happens, what about your wife? What about your husband? What about your children? And possibly your grandchildren? So it is very, very important for each and every one of us to regularly do our checks. Your blood pressure might be very high, but you would not know if you do not check it out. Your cholesterol might be high. You would not know if you do not check it out. You might be pre-diabetic, except if you conduct a check, you might not know how much sugar you have in your system. And all of these things are not good. None of them are good for the body. None of them are good for you. This is why make it a point. Go and check yourself out. And especially if you are 40 years old and above, if you live in England, for instance, the NHS conduct a regular check or regular health checks for people who are above 40. Why not make use of that has been given to you free of charge? And you might be living in countries where, okay, you do not have access to free medical health, but you might be financially able to do it. Why not check yourself out? I'll tell you a story of a man I know, very wealthy man. But one of the problems he has is that he does not want to spend his money. He don't like spending money unnecessarily. He call it unnecessary spending when it comes to checking himself. One day he was playing a novelty football match and he slumped. He was rushed to the best hospital. He died. There was no sign that he was sick. Prior to him playing that football, he was okay. But you know what? By playing football, he stretched his body beyond what he used to do. And that triggered something and he slumped and he was rushed to the hospital. And that was it. If he had checked himself out, he might have found out what is wrong. And that might have been treated and he would still be alive today. I know also someone, an elderly man at that matter, who said he's been living with diabetes in the last 30 or 40 years. But you will not even know that this man is diabetic. You know why? He found out on time and he's doing all the right things and he's even healthier and stronger than young people, most young people of today. All because he found out what is wrong and he decided to treat himself and he's still strong and he's still going. Most of you might know who I'm talking about, but I'm not here to name names. So this is me encouraging you. I wasn't happy. I cried when I lost my best friend, one of my best friends. I cried when I lost him. It wasn't like he was sick. All of a sudden he slumped and he died. I don't want to hear those stories. Please, if you are not in the habit of checking yourself, go do a regular checkup. It doesn't take anything away from you, even if it has to cost you money. Why are we making money? Is it not for us to enjoy it? Is it not for us to use that money for to better our lives? If you are not listening to me, you are not under any obligation to do it, but just know that you do not have to be selfish because you have loved ones. There are people who love you. You have relatives. You might have children. You might have grandchildren. You might have a mother or a father. You might have other people who love you. They care for you. Go check yourself out. Don't say, I don't care. I don't want to do it. Don't say that. You might be depriving people of the opportunity to enjoy you as an uncle, as a dad, as a brother, or as a relative. So go check yourself out. Anything can happen, but you have to go check yourself out. Go to the hospital, conduct regular health check. Very key, very important. This has got nothing to do with God forbid. A lot of things that God has already forbidden is happening today because we allow them. Would you allow yourself to be checked out so that you are on top of your health, you're on top of your game? You don't want surprises. I don't want surprises. So for you not to be surprised, go to the hospital, check yourself out. I know you're strong. I know there are no signs. And probably you are the strongest you can be. You are the healthiest you can be. But you cannot find out until you have checked yourself out. So go check yourself out.